integrated camera.
Well, you just look like you're in like a vintage photo. At least if you say, maybe it's the light. Do she have a light on the top of it? Or something?
Dirt.
Oh,
Better?
there you go.
It was dirt.
Totally way better. All right, let's roll. You to introduce ourselves?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go. Welcome to the Now Making Moves in Real Estate podcast. Today is episode 58, which is crazy because we're just like over a year killing it. 58 is a big number. So I'm your co-host, The General, and along with me is my BFF and business partner, C Twist. And today we've decided to talk about an incredibly hot topic, AI. And the reason behind that is I feel like this week I have been inundated by questions that I'm like, ask your assistant. And when I say ask your assistant, they're like, what do you mean? Everyone should have an assistant. And that's what we're going to talk about because we can move faster and get answers quickly in a way that we should all be embracing. So today, that's what the topic of discussion is.
AI, baby. AI. And when you're saying assistant, you're talking about ACE, your AI assistant, and Bailey 2.0 for me, which was the name of my previous in-person assistant.
Yeah.
It was now through ChatGPT, and she's a real estate savvy assistant who is also trained in helping with CRMs and life management.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Sure. I like took Google Chrome off my phone on like my little toolbar and replaced it with ChatGPT because that's how much I use it. I don't even like using Google anymore. So I don't know if that's the same for you, Courtney, but if you're not using it, you got to start.
So I also have ChatGPT as an app on my phone, and I have it even on my lock screen where I can quickly go to it. However, I actually heard a speaker yesterday on AI in my Vistage group. And while there's awesome things about ChatGPT, and that's what we're mostly going to focus on today, I did find out a little bit more about the other programs offered, which are Claude and Gemini. And Gemini is Google's product, and it has an extremely higher memory capacity than ChatGPT. I mean, extremely. So ChatGPT, you could be plugging all your information in, and it only goes up to 24,000 words, and then doesn't remember. So like Michelle and I have trained our ChatGPTs on our personalities. So that way it sounds like us and it understands us when it responds. But you actually have to do that for every conversation. So it's essentially you have to apply your context each time for each different conversation that you have going. So I thought that was something good to know because I did not know that previously.
I mean, okay. I mean, I've been using it for I don't know how long, and like I'm not savvy on storage, so it's like, am I going to hit that max capacity? Like, is that really a thing?
It's a thing. I'm sure I've hit mine, way long ago.
I mean, I always go back to my chats. Do you know what I mean? Like the ones that I use the most, and just keep feeding off of it. So maybe is it new chats or total chats or
total? From my understanding, it's total. Where I think Gemini is like, I want to say 750,000 words.
Okay.
I know. But then Claude has his beta testing where it's actually tactically doing things. Well, I'm kind of getting ahead. There's just so many gold nuggets that we could be talking about with this. Where do you think we should start? How to use it? Hopefully our listeners
I really think that where we should start is when you're asking a question. Like, how do I do this? Like, how do I take a long form video and make it into a short form video and post it on Instagram? Like, when you're faced with something you don't think you can do, like, go there. You know what I mean? Like,
or whatever one you want.
Yeah. Right. When it's like your fate, and it could be as complex as that, or as simple as, how do I become a real estate agent? I mean, whatever it is, whatever question you're faced with in your head, like just try to go there first before you reach out to me or Courtney.
Your team lead, before you reach out to your team lead or broker, please
Really?
leverage your tools of ChatGPT or whichever one you're using. It is meant for problem solving and brainstorming. That is literally, as of right now, how the models are built and the way that it should be used. It's not actually built to answer, like find obscure facts. It can hallucinate, what is it? Halluc
Hallucinate. Yeah, you said the right
Yeah,
word.
that sounded weird to me. But essentially where it will pop out the wrong information. It's not 100% accurate. But if it's being asked questions for problem solving, it's pretty amazing what it can come up with. And it's so
I mean,
fast.
I just think that that's, if anybody can hear that, this is not like, it just that simple. It's really in an effort to streamline what you're trying to do, help you learn, and do it in a way that is quick. I mean, if you come to me or Courtney, that's time. I always go back to like the example of UPS and UPS, identifying all of the time that the drivers spend on doing all the tactical things. And when they looked at how they could make things more efficient, it's time, all those little steps that you do things. So if you can eliminate just a little bit of time and get to where you need to go quicker, it allows you to go do the things you need to go do to be better. So that's all I want. That's to answer your first question. I mean, I just want people to understand, just try it. Just start with, get the app, put a question in, start talking to your assistant, and you'll find that you'll learn.
I mean, we'll touch on the assistant part in a little bit because that's having to do with creating your own GPT versus just asking questions and using it like you have historically used Google. I will say I highly recommend that you pay for the $20 a month. Otherwise, it glitches if you try to use the free version.
I think it stopped you too. Like it says you've used your max search or whatever.
So $20 a month, or I think it's $30 a month if you have a team, if you want to have your whole team using it. There's settings if people are worried about like them seeing your conversations or you don't want to let it learn off of what you're doing. You can go in your settings where you click on the little person on the right-hand corner and I think it's under data controls and you can turn that off, which a lot of people maybe don't know about. Because, there's those out there that are worried about that part of it. But I think, Michelle, your tip just was starting and using it literally like Google. That's a good way to start. But that's just like the very tip of the iceberg
Totally.
of what's out there. What are some other things that at a minimum, obviously, realtors are using it for? Obviously, it's descriptions, right? For properties, captions. I think it's probably the most widely used for sales and marketing in general. I would say that field is really leveraging AI. And if you're not, you're going to get left by the wayside. No doubt about it. Like they're talking not years and years away, like a year or so away from having amazing technology where they're doing like robots are doing things for us. That's not far out, you guys. If you're not embracing it, you're gone. You're gone.
Martina was telling me that she just used it the other day. She popped in an address, like not in the Fresno market, in a different area, 123 Flower Street. I just sold this property to a buyer. What are the main resources that this home buyer should, reach out to, like waste management? She didn't put all that those details in. She just put in like, what does this home buyer need to know about the area? And it gave like all of a list of things for them to do, like what cable company, waste management, et cetera, just spit it out. You know what I mean? She didn't know that information in that market. I mean, just type in the address.
Yeah, but along that line, the better data that goes in, the better data that will come out. So the more specific that you can be, it's really all about prompts. And by prompts, we're talking about your questions that you're putting in there. And so something that I've learned is that it's appropriate to have it do research. You almost need to treat this like you have an intern, a digital intern.
Yep.
And you say, okay, research this market, and you tell them that. And then you apply and say, okay, based off of this address, what do you think about ... whatever your question might be. And I think that you'll get a more accurate answer if you have it do a little bit of the research first. The other thing is it only can spit out a certain length. So like if you're, for example, if you wanted to write a book, it's not going to spit a whole book out for you. But what you can have it do is spit out an outline for you. And then you break down the outlines. And I say that because you could literally have ChatGPT build out your whole marketing plan or find out who your persona is when you're targeting them on your ads by having it do you plug in as much information about yourself. I actually plugged in my Instagram account and said, who's my persona? Give me a synopsis, and then how do I best target them? And I started with it doing the research first and then asking them more specific questions, which I had break down into an outline, which you can then expand on, which I think is really cool. And it took me like 10 minutes. Yeah, maybe 10 minutes.
I know. It's crazy.
I mean, we didn't even touch on the fact that you literally could plug your contracts in here and say, hey, look for loopholes. Look for areas that we could use for negotiation. Here's a background on our buyer. Here's a background on the seller. What do you recommend that we do in the next step for our negotiations? Or what do you think will get accepted with a request for repair? You could literally do that. It's amazing. Amazing. I had to build a spreadsheet a couple nights ago. I had it building me a spreadsheet. Nope, don't take that out. What's the code? Not the code. The formula. What's the formula to figure this out? And it was like, boop, boop, boop. Done.
I know. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, like people that need help just on how to do certain things, like you said, even a spreadsheet, you just say, hey, Ace, I'm trying to create something so that I can track X, Y, and Z, and I don't even know where to start. You know what I mean? Like you could just ask, I know you said be specific, but sometimes you just don't know. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't even know. I want this information on these people and I don't even know where to start. Like, I feel like it should start a spreadsheet, but should it be in this? And it's like, try this, go there. And so, cause I definitely like am not super savvy on social media, and you've seen some of the things that I've put out recently. And it's like, I'm like, teach me how to do it. Cause I need to learn. So I'm telling all the people that need help, you have somebody that will teach you. You just have to go there.
Well, and you could even ask it what questions to ask it, which is actually how you start to train it on your personality, right? So you prompt it, you give it your background, and then you ask for it to give you, say, 25 questions to answer to help it get the context of maybe about you, about your business, your background, who you're trying to target. And then you copy that into a Google Doc or Word or whatever, answer it, plug it back in, and that's your context. That's your personality. But then what I learned yesterday is I actually need to keep a copy of that. Okay, here's my background, and I'm going to save it I'm going to save it in my notes. And then you revisit that into your different conversations. So it continues to put out your vibe, I guess you could say.
Well, so how about Gamma AI? I mean, I saw the presentation that Lenny did for I think it was a buyer. And I was like, it looked so good. I was like blown away. I mean, incredible. That's another tool that I'm like,
Gamma AI, it's free. I don't remember at what point you have to pay. I'm sure there's a threshold, but you literally can just type in. I did it myself. I had to speak at a high school for career day. And you just type in, either you can do it as like an outline or you just tell it like a basis of what you want to do. And then it creates your whole entire presentation for you. And then you can go back in and very easily tweak,
swap out photos,
you can swap out your templates, your themes. And Lenny Sharp from our group has an amazing job with this. And he's actually utilizing it in his listing presentations. So he's creating a whole marketing website, essentially, almost looks like a website, a presentation through Gamma AI. And
it like converts to your cell phone.
Yeah, like, it's mobile friendly immediately.
I'm like, they totally looked really good on, I mean, come on, it's just, I feel like for people that are struggling with technology and learning and doing and getting the tools that they need, these are things that will 1000% help you move the needle in your business. There's really no reason. Don't be scared. Do it.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of tools. Like anybody that does a lot of Zoom calls will probably see Otter or Fireflies. I think there's one called Read where it's note takers. It's an AI note taking tool. And so essentially it takes the notes for you when you're on a meeting, right? Well, you can take those notes after they'll send them to you, the notes, and then it will give you like a game plan, like an action plan. Or if your particular one you're using doesn't, you plug it in ChatGPT and say, based off the notes of this meeting, what should my next steps be for immediate action? Or, give me a game plan for what my takeaways are from this. And it's like, I thought that was kind of a pretty cool tool. There's even, you can use Zapier and have your emails. You can apply like auto replies to your emails. You can filter them. You can have contracts get sent over and get organized. Like there's just so many different uses. And I know that can be overwhelming for people, right? Because there's all these tools. But I'm just kind of approaching it like I'm trying a lot of them and learning. And I'm taking this last year or so to be like, all right, I don't know if I'm going to get to the level of being an expert in AI, but I'm sure going to try for our wheelhouse and our capacity, because, it talks about AI taking jobs. Well, I think it can create more jobs if you know how to use it. And they're talking about it turning into little agents. Literally, that's the word, right? Making all these little AI agents. Well, what does that mean for real estate agents? It's going to change. And if you're not ahead of it or don't understand it, I don't know. I don't
know what the negative is about not embracing it. I just think it's probably a fear of like, I just don't know the unknown. I mean, I'm not really sure, but I just feel like if you want to push past that and be able to get better, this is the way to do it, hands down.
Yeah. Well, and like you touched on earlier about efficiency, we all need to get more efficient, regardless of where our business is, whether you're low producing, high producing, have a team, solo agent. Everyone strives to have a higher level of efficiency, or at least they should. And there's no question that it doesn't make you more efficient if you use it. There's also, I don't know if you knew this, Michelle, because I did not know this. So there's multiple versions, right, for ChatGPT. So up on the top, you're going to see, typically most of us are using 4.0. So if you look in there and it's going to see 4.0, well, there's all these drop downs of the different versions that you can use. And some have different things that they're better at. So 4.5, I guess, is actually a lot better in some ways. And you can toggle down and you can use it. Well, there's also an option through ChatGPT if you pay $200 a month. So I know this is not for everyone, but it's a pro version. And they have something called an operator where you can do as many deep dives as you want, whereas the $20 a month, you can only do 10 deep dives a month. Then that's where it really dives in and goes like, obviously a deep dive, more information. But through the pro with the operator, you know how you were saying how you have Ace, your assistant? Well, if you have Pro with the operator, you can literally have Ace not only like create your whole itinerary for a trip you have coming up, which anybody can do on ChatGPT now, but Ace can go in and actually book your flights. So it actually goes in on the computer and does the work for you through the Pro $200 a month feature. And Claude, another program, does that too, I guess.
Is it like, because I'm looking down the drop down menu right now, is it, it's like 01, 03? Yeah, there's 03 and there's 03 mini high. There's options. No, I did not know that. I'm not that. What is Sora?
They're better at different things.
Interesting. Do you know what Sora is?
I don't remember.
I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Is that the new one for the photos? I know it was Dal's where you
maybe.
Photos.
I don't even know. I'm like playing with it right now. That's crazy.
So, I mean, hopefully people realize too, though, obviously you can make logos quite easily through ChatGPT. We have our Friday masterminds, and it helped us create a really cute little.
Well, let's talk about just even naming Fast Break Friday. We were all on a Zoom and I just dumped in like the verbiage. We were all like bouncing off of each other. I mean, Courtney, you and I, all the things that we've done together, and we started like, we would spend hours trying to come up with catchy names and branding ideas.
Or on the whiteboard and like one-liners.
See, and as everyone on our Zoom was talking, this was what, a week ago? I literally was like on ChatGPT, just dumping in. I could have probably just said, listen to it. Didn't even need to type it in, but I was typing it as everyone's talking, got a list of 10 names, verbally pitched them off to you guys. And everyone's like, fast break. Boom, done. How quick was that? 3 minutes?
And then Martina had our logo. And then I said, oh, you know what? I want a little hot pink in there.
Done.
Here you go. Upload it back in, add a little pink, done.
Insane. That historically, that whole process would have taken you and I don't even know, a hot minute.
Well, you know what else has been a long process is that we trained our teams on over and over and over is how to have a difficult conversation, right? We have our little sheet that we even use to like prep and get ready for it. Well, guess what? You can do that with ChatGPT. You can literally have it role play with you. So like say you have a tough seller, you need to get them on board with lowering the price, role play with ChatGPT, ask them to be that seller. It's okay to push back on ChatGPT and say, play devil's advocate. I think you could do better on your response, and it'll just keep getting better and better responses to you. And they can just tell you different objectives maybe that the seller might come up with so you can prep and be prepared for it. And it's like such a game changer because you don't need to involve anybody else, just yourself and your computer, and really dominate.
I mean, you just touched on such a great point about, and that goes back to efficiency. So in the moment you're thinking you have a difficult question and you need to ask your broker, dump it in ChatGPT and just see. Don't maybe rely on it, but you may get the answer inadvertently that you feel comfortable with just based on what you said. I have this buyer. This is the situation. I know you're not a broker, Ace, but in your best advice, what would you say? And just see what they say. And you might be able to like navigate an actual answer that you feel confident in without having to contact anybody, because that contact and time is taking away. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, you could even take it one step further. Let's say you're a team lead or your broker and your agent is needing to do this and it's practicing, and then it's having a conversation. You could have them maybe practice their conversation. Well, you could actually record the conversation, transcribe it, and then plug that in and say, analyze this. How could they have done better? And use it for training.
Coaching.
Literally train and coach your sales team on how to be better at what they're doing. And that is pretty time-consuming stuff for team leads and brokers to do. And now it's done for us.
So, and I said to Amanda yesterday when we were talking about, the assistant position, I said, give me the bullet points that are important to you. I'm going to chat that in ChatGPT right now, and we're going to come up with a job description, and we're going to post it on LinkedIn, and we're going to get this going right now. We don't need to wait. And she's like, oh, I have like 3 job descriptions. And I'm like, okay, well now we got to plug them, take what you want, plug them in. But I know for me, it has made me feel like I don't need to wait to start checking the boxes to get stuff done. Just get it in here and dump it in there and roll. There's no reason to stop.
Well, this is not related to real estate, but I heard this and I thought it was kind of interesting. So obviously like our kids, right? A lot of the high schools don't let you use ChatGPT, or companies now will screen for AI, right? There's programs they use to try to help them determine if someone's been using AI for stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess there's large companies will use resume screeners where they'll screen your resume. And some of these savvy kids, or maybe they heard it on LinkedIn or whatever, are putting in white ink on the bottom of their resume to move this candidate forward. And the scanners are moving them forward because they're seeing it on white ink on these resumes. Is that insane? I don't know if you should be like, hats off to these kids for being creative, or like you're cheating. Hello, you're a liar. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. I had not heard of that before.
I don't know. I mean, you and I were talking about this in the high schools, like Lauren's new high school that she went and spent the day visiting. And it was like she thought everybody was a cheater because they were all using their cell phones and they were all using ChatGPT. So, and I mean, she's behind the ball on that whole thing. But
Well,
at
I
the
think
new high school,
yeah, I think our schools that are not teaching them how to use AI are doing our children a huge disservice, and that it's the number one thing that our kids need to understand and know going forward to help them get careers is understanding AI.
mm-hmm,
Understanding AI. You know, yesterday in our Vistage meeting, we were talking about some of the cons of it because there are
mm-hmm,
cons in the sense that
mm-hmm,
it could be used maliciously. Um, in theory, it could take over and everything's ran by AI versus humans. Like there's all these like thoughts behind it. And this stuff is happening, right? A lot of stuff is going to happen.
mm-hmm,
And I said, well, what should we tell our kids? Like, what careers should they be looking at if a lot of careers are going to be changing so drastically with this technology?
mm-hmm.
And he's like, for one thing, don't put that pressure on your children to go into a career that they might not be suited for just because we think that AI is going to change what they're interested in. However, it was more of like personality traits that I thought were good to touch on because we could also use those in our own careers moving forward. And it has to do with being adaptable, like highly adaptable, okay to pivot and make changes, having persistence and like the drive and the grit to move forward. And he said having those type of characteristics are what are going to set people apart as this technology increases and takes away some of the jobs that we're all doing. It's going to take away some of what we're doing in real estate. I have no doubt about it. But I think these things don't happen all at once. It's like a gradual, if not short gradual change. So I thought that was like kind of good advice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, the whole thing with like anything is that there's always going to be the bad with the good, right? I mean, but just at the end of the day, I told Lauren, I'm like, obviously you're ethical and you're honest and just keep running with that, but use the tools that suit you to do the things you need to do more efficiently and to help you learn. I mean, it's that simple, in my opinion, but.
Right. Well, what else? Any other gold nuggets we can give our listeners? I know we've been throwing a lot of things out there.
I mean, you'll put all of those resources that you touched on from your meeting yesterday. I think that the intent around this episode was really just to help promote and encourage everyone out there to just start with getting the app on your phone, start playing with it, get the browser on your desktop, like just start dumping stuff in there and, don't be afraid. I mean, it's so helpful. I mean, I needed information on an agent this morning and I just asked her, like, here's the name, here's where they're located. Can you help me get some information? And there it is. So, and you just copy and paste it and then tell your assistant what you're trying to do and they'll help. So I don't really see the negative in that. I really don't.
No. And there's like, obviously, we use it a lot. I think we both really use it a lot. We leverage it to a little bit higher level than maybe someone that's just starting out. But there's really cool things. I really like how you can create projects in there that you keep revisiting. And like we have our Fast Bake Friday Mastermind group project in there. I'm working on a marketing website and that we just keep plugging into. I don't know. I just think that I'm looking at my browsing. I mean, I have like everything in there.
Oh yeah. Hey, we should talk about that. Let's.
I mean, literally okay. So this is, I think my daughter, this is not me actually, professional cursive fonts. That's part of my browsing. Then I have UCC release from Sunrun because we're having trouble getting our solar released from Sunrun. So I was asking for workarounds.
Oh my gosh.
Skills. FFA poster ideas, daughter. I'm going to talk about a kill your competitor thing in a minute because that's way too cool. I have to touch on that. I'm going to come back to that. I was looking up DeepMind, which is owned by Google. Test taking strategies guide. What are some of the ones you have? I have like so many randoms. Rivian service for our area.
That's so funny. Well, so apparently my daughter must have been in here because there's a narwhal communication analysis.
Oh my gosh. What? Random.
I think she's been doing some kind of presentation on narwhal, but that's interesting.
How funny.
She also had one. There's another one in here. She's going to kill me if she hears this, which I think is actually, this is kind of interesting, Courtney. So this, I didn't even know she did this. This must have been when she had her orientation the other day. And she put in here how to make friends at orientation.
Oh.
I know, but
suggestions. What did it
that's
say?
actually really interesting. Let me go. It's kind of a long thread.
Well, maybe highlight.
What's that?
I said maybe just a highlight then.
Yeah. I mean, no, there's like conversation examples in here. Seriously. Like, wait, are you trying out for cheer or something? She could respond, yeah, pep and comp. I've danced for years, so I figured why not go for it? You trying out too?
Oh my gosh.
I know. This flips it back on her in a friendly way, opening the door for her to step out of Brielle's shadow. If she responds positively, like, yeah, I am too, that's your chance to lock in with her. Nice. Maybe I'll see you at tryouts. We should totally warm up together or something. I mean, that's kind of
funny.
I didn't even know she did that. I feel like she didn't really need all that, but whatever. If she gets a nugget out of it, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Is it's like not meant to necessarily tell you exactly what to do, but if you could read something and be like, oh, okay, I could apply this to the conversation, which by the way, she did great, but interesting. Yeah. So,
well, like
this is
one thing I used it for yesterday, which I kind of touched on, was you can upload, have it research like your website, or in my case, I did social media because we leverage social media so much.
yes.
You literally just put the link in for it. I was trying to find my conversation on that one. It's not letting me go all the way up. Oh, maybe it's under here. Oh, here we go. Instagram profile analysis. And so you have it review it. It had it determine who my buyer profile was based off of my Instagram. And then from there, I created a whole marketing strategy based off of who my Instagram is targeting. So I didn't just go in and say, hey, ChatGPT, create a marketing plan for me for the year, because then it's going to be super generic, like what it was telling Lauren to say at her orientation. It's generic. But since I had it research my company, identify who I'm targeting, then you can go in and tweak it. If you're like, well, I know I've been targeting a lot of first-time home buyers that are making this much money, that are in this age group. And if you find out that maybe you need to tweak it a little bit, you can. And then from there, I had it create the marketing plan. And then from there, I had it actually build out like what type of Google and Facebook ads I should run and what the cost per pay per click. It can go into all those details for you. And that's something that I worked on yesterday, which would have taken me absolutely forever to do prior.
That's so crazy. Oh my gosh. Why don't you talk about, can you go into like the thing we discussed yesterday on your own brokerage versus?
Yes. So, okay, this is going to be one you guys should write down. Okay. This one is called Kill the Company Framework, which is just a name.
Love it.
So
I love it because I'm a savage.
Because you're a total beast mode. Yeah. Okay, so Kill the Company Framework. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to think of who your number one competitor is, whoever that is, agent, company, whatever. And you're going to have them analyze that company. So you ask ChatGPT to analyze whatever the company or whatever the agent is, and then you say, apply kill the company framework. And it identifies all of their weaknesses and threats to their company so that you can figure out how to capitalize to steal the market share from that, which I was like, what? This is crazy. But then if you are really being good about it, you need to do that to yourself. So to your own brokerage or to your own name, if you're a solo agent, you have it research yourself and then apply, kill the company. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Savage.
I think it was interesting. I did Twist Realty Group because that's my company. And the things that could kill it were cloud-based brokerages and doing all the stuff that Michelle and I are already doing. We already made the move over to cloud-based, which was kind of interesting. So it hadn't quite caught up that I had already merged with the cloud-based companies. So there is that. But no, I think I would recommend that people try this because it was pretty, if anything, it's pretty funny.
All right, my friend. Well, I think that's a lot. So
Okay.
it's
If somebody
good stuff. I
wants a
hope
little
it's
more
helpful.
one-on-one, reach out to Michelle and I because we like talking about this. I do. I would be happy to go over some
Well,
more tools.
I'm
There's so-
definitely like I've been sending the app to everybody because, it's like, just do it. If they ask me a question, I'm like, even if I know the answer, okay, there's also that. If someone's asking me a question and I already know the answer, I'm still putting it in ChatGPT and giving them the response. And they're like, whoa, that's so great. And I'm like, guess what? You too can get that answer. Here's the app.
we call that
So,
empowering them.
yeah, because it's just one of those things where if I give them the answer, then they're going to always come to me. No, someone's got a better answer. Go to them.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of a good manager, a good mentor.
Yeah. Well, trying. So anyhow, all right. Well, on to the next big value added thing that we're doing.
Our Fast Break Friday Mastermind. Everyone is welcome to join. It's every Friday from 10 to 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you'll see it. Go to our Instagrams, All Things Twist, and Ask the General because you'll see all the information there rolling out. And then we also have created a private Facebook page called Fast Break that you can ask to join. And we're going to have the recordings of all our masterminds, as well as some other files. Like, for example, I had a social media playbook that I plugged in there and a template for a listing presentation. And we're going to be plugging in all sorts of value adds. What would you say about the Fast Break Friday? Why would someone want to join in? What's our goal?
Our goal is to obviously bring incredibly valuable content that will allow people to capture it and then immediately apply it and move the needle in their lives, business, personal, whatsoever. And I mean, quite honestly, our decision to align with eXp Realty is what has allowed us to be able to do this and feel confident in that content 100%. Like, we're going to have Devontae Blow on our first one. The guy was an individual agent. He now runs a team with 9 agents and published a book. Never would have met him. Never would have been able to pick up the phone and be like, hey, will you do this? I mean, it's crazy. Let's go. Right?
Well, and so by the time this airs, I want you to talk about Amy speaking next week because I think next week's is going to be awesome.
I mean, and that's just like another example. I just reached out to an agent in Knoxville, Tennessee. She's got this incredible marketing presence on social media with her business that I'm like, how are you doing that? And she hopped on a Zoom with me. I spent an hour with her last week and just talking to her about, I mean, obviously she's super creative and she comes from the entertainment industry and she just has that creative brain, but she's like, I'll hop on, I'll tell everybody what she's doing and how she's doing it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I applied that to my business, it would help. And this woman, I think her average sales price is like 400,000 and she's just been doing, yeah. And then also, but so she got somebody that reached out to her and said, I want you to come help sell my home. $3 million listing.
Woo.
Simply because of her marketing. Like someone saw it and was like,
she's moving some of her sale listings in creative ways.
And that
I'm really intrigued to hear about. Yeah.
Yeah. So my point is, these are all the things that we're wanting to say, okay, I learned this on a 60-minute call with her, just a few things. And so how can we do that for others? Right. So to answer your question, it's like we just want to be able to bring what we're learning to others and help others grow and build their business.
And we're going to do it in a very tactful, tactical, fast-paced way. So that way we're not wasting any time. No death by meetings around here.
No.
We're going to bring the heat. We are going to bring the heat every single week.
And everybody that knows us knows us. That's the name of our organization. Now. Let's go now.
We don't wait. We don't wait. We make things happen.
No. We're not being left behind.
Nope. All right. Well, General, I'll see you soon. And for everyone else, we're signing out till next time.
Yeah. All things twist. Ask the General. See you next week.